this whole thing tie in with these, turn this off, and all this. Once it's in service, my understanding is that for this is one.
Whenever you're ready, John.
This is this is our plan.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Turn your mic on.
Okay.
I'd like to call this regular Finance Committee meeting of Monday, January 27, 2025 to order. Can everybody please stand for an invocation and a pledge of allegiance? I'll have Ms. McDaniel lead the invocation and the mayor lead the pledge, please.
Thank you.
Would you bow your heads and pray with me, please? Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for this opportunity to work together for the city of Streetsboro. Lord, I thank you for all of our unique blessings. I thank you for new opportunities that we value so much. And I thank you, Lord, also for our traditions and our history that we value just the same. Lord, you have blessed us greatly, and we just praise you and thank you. Help us tonight as we make decisions. Help us to be wise, good stewards, and able to communicate clearly with one another, Lord. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, roll call.
Mr. Ring,
Here?
Mr. Mishniak, Mr. Hannon,
Here.
Mr. Lombardo,
Here.
Ms. Wagner,
Here.
Mrs. McDaniel,
Present.
Ms. Glenn.
Here.
As of 7:05 or 7:01, my computer's off. I have not heard from Mr. Mishniak. I don't know if anyone else has.
not either.
So we'll move on to item 4, disposition of minutes. There are none. And item 5, monthly financial report. Mr. Matt Miller, you got a whole bunch of items to talk about.
We do. So this is the financial report for December, which is essentially our financial report for the year. Overall, for 2024, our general fund revenues were up at 118% versus budget, and overall, we were up 112%. Last year, we were about 107 and 100% respectively between the general fund and just all funds for the city. So we definitely exceeded our targets. But on the reverse, we definitely want to be under budget on expenditures. This year overall, we were at about 89.4%. Last year, we were at 93.5%. So we definitely had some good numbers ending for 2024. But how does all this affect cash and fund balances and things like that? Essentially, our fund balance in the general fund went up 1%. And that might seem discouraging in regards to, where we ended our cash balance. In 2023, we ended about 9.7 million, and that is unencumbered fund balance, meaning we're taking into account all the POs. This year, we ended unencumbered fund balance of 9.744, so we went up about $45,000. But don't just look at that, also look at the fact that we had a large transfer in the beginning of the year for $2,080,000, which was for the city center infrastructure, Oval Phase 1, the splash pad, the bathroom. And so you almost need to add that back in because we decided to take that money out of the general fund and put it towards capital projects. The other significant item that we did a transfer for in 2024 was for City Hall. We took about a little over $500,000 and put it to the 401 fund to cover our down payment for City Hall. And I'll get back to City Hall in a little bit. But obviously, our largest revenue, of course, is our income tax fund. And got those numbers here. We were just shy of an extra $1 million from 2023 to 2024. The heavy hitter, of course, is our withholdings. That number went up about $605,000. And if you take that number and you divide it by 2, you get about $30 million. So essentially, in the city of Streetsboro, from 2023 to 2024, our employers, new hires, new businesses like that Patrick will bring in, that translate into about $605,000 extra in withholding. And so that was a nice surprise to see for the city. Our cash balances ended truthfully $513,000 higher. 12/31/2023 versus 12/31/2024. If you were to look at the reports, it looks like it's more money, but the key to all that is you need to back out the bond proceeds. If you don't back out that $6 million bond proceeds, things look rosy and wonderful, but you have to back that out because I'm very confident we're going to spend it all for the City Hall build. So, so pretty much we kept the status quo, and we moved out about $2.5 million for large things for the city center. And so if you look at it from that perspective, it was a pretty good year in regards to just cash management. I did some little bit deeper dives in just to our interest revenue. That has, there's a phrase, when the tide's in, all boats float. Well, we have been very blessed on the side of interest revenue. For this year, we made, in total, $1,142,000. In December, we hit about the $88,000 mark. It's been ticking down a little bit, obviously, interest rates and all that, but we were 571% over budget with that number. And so that's a number I like to look at because if it's ticking down, I want to make sure that there's other things that are ticking up. And one of the emails, we were having a little trouble with our emails today, but I sent out an email in regards to property taxes. Obviously, residents of Streetsboro know their property taxes are going up. Well, on the back end of that, that means more revenue is coming in to the city. And pretty much what that email was giving you the numbers for that, I'll just read them off because it's easier to look at the email. The county, we've been waiting on the county for months for these figures because they were finishing up. They had a third party go in, do all of countywide the property valuations. And finally, like 2-3 weeks ago, they finally gave us these numbers, and this will be reflected in the budget adjustment tonight. Essentially, the 101 fund is going to get about another $344,000. We're also going to get some money for police pension fund. Essentially, you can add those two together because I just booked police pension out of a different fund for a little bit. So almost $400,000 we're going to get in real estate property taxes in 2025 for 2024 valuations. And so that greatly helps the city, and this came up when the mayor and I, in bond presentation and different things. It's good to have diversified inflows. You don't want to just put all your, everything towards income tax. You want to have different things going in. I look at other things like cable revenue or hotel motel tax. I'll see one go up and then one go down. And so that's important. Don't just look at the whole numbers. Hey, the city was over budget and all that. We also want to be over our revenue budget in regards to different asset classes that are tied to those revenues. So that was a very welcome email for me. Maybe not so much for the residents, I understand, but on the back end, the city, the schools, and various entities benefit from that. Another side note to income, real estate property taxes going up is the fact that our 301 fund will be getting additional revenues. Why is that so important? The reason that's important because when we were doing City Hall financing, we were taking a risk, a guess, educated risk in regards to breaking even in that fund. We wanted to be able to not only pay off the old judgment bond in 2027, but we also wanted to make all of our debt service payments over the next 20 years for City Hall. That's significant because we didn't want to go to we obviously, council, the mayor didn't want to go to the citizens, raise a levy for City Hall. We wanted to do that within ourselves. Well, we successfully are going to be able to break even on that number. And if we also pay off the judgment bond, we save about $87,000 in interest. So we definitely want to exercise that call option in 2027. So that was, I'm kind of combining here that real estate email as well as the monthly financial report. Just getting back to 2024, the last thing I guess I'll say is just PO balances. We're way down if you don't take into account City Hall. In 2023, we had almost 7 million in POs. Granted, that's spread across Splash Pad and different things, some large projects. This year, we had about 9.4. 6.5 of that roughly is City Hall. So we definitely, ending the year, Finance Week sent out multiple waves of emails, making sure departments closed POs. That way we get a better picture of the direction the city's going, because if we didn't close all those POs, I would have more of a liability on my hands, which would affect fund balance projections. So essentially, it was an average year. I feel like I could have given the same speech in last December, for December 2023. We pretty much kept the same throughout the year, but we've also funded a lot at the city center, and we've started on City Hall. So any questions on any of the figures or anything regarding real estate taxes?
Mr. Ring?
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. No, I just wanted to make a comment, and you just said it. I don't think we had an average year. I think we had a very good year because while it seems like we're the same as we were last year,
Right.
we've dedicated a lot of money to capital projects to improve the city. So I think it was an amazing year. I'll say that off the bat. I think everybody in the city did an amazing job to make it happen to where we could still stay in a good financial
Yeah.
position while completing all that.
We just stayed at the status quo. Maybe better terminology is we kept status quo while also funding a lot
Yep.
for the city. So pretty much everything's pretty much stayed the same going into 2025. So
Perfect. Anything else?
no, I'm good.
No? All right.
Yes, you are.
Mayor said I talked enough.
Mr. Mishnak arrived.
Yep.
I got him down at
Welcome.
7:05.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the report, Mr. Miller. Old business, there is none. And item 7, new business. Item A.
I think we skipped over a few things from 5.
Oh, I asked you if you had anything else.
Oh, okay.
You said
Let you
no.
know
I heard you
that.
say no.
I did say no. That's on the record, Bridget.
I got it.
Man.
Well, that's,
Okay.
I was going to ask because you did mention the credit card report. That's why I said, is there anything?
Oh, no, we have to talk about this separate, or the
All right, we'll go back-
auditors
we'll
will
go
get
back up.
very upset if we don't talk about this. So quarterly, this is actually an Ohio Revised Code. We do have to report on our credit card balances. Everything stayed the same except Amazon. Again, they just keep raising our credit line. I did see a commercial last week that you can buy cars on Amazon, so we have just about enough credit limit to purchase a vehicle this year on Amazon. So that is the only number. We're up to 51,000 on Amazon. So that is the only thing changing there. In regards to second line, our third line is credit card reward points review. This is also in Ohio Revised Code. We have never, that I've seen, cashed out any points. And I was looking at our statement one day and noticed that we had a boatload of points on the bottom. We didn't think they were legit, so we called. Apparently, we've been building up points with Huntington for many, many years, and so we decided to cash them out, and the total for that was $1,434.37, and we simply just deposited that into the general fund. So that's the Huntington card. Obviously, we're going to cash out any points before we close that card and go to the Chase card, but this will be a January report that we'll have to make every year because the auditors will be checking that this is in the minutes. So wanted to report on that. Any questions on the credit card or credit card points? It was a horrible redemption value, by the way.
Yeah.
The last item under monthly financial report is just the purchase order balance rollover. This is something that we do in our new accounting software. In the old one, it was automatic. In this one, it's a manual process, and it creates a budget adjustment in our accounting system. And so it might look like council didn't approve it, but it's just something that we have to communicate to council that this happened and that column in the monthly financial reporting is updated. If I did not do this, I would pull from people's 2025 budget. And so it's very important that we make that budget adjustment because councils approved that from prior year, just different projects don't get finished, like the city hall. So any questions on the PO roll report?
Any questions?
And now I am finished, Mr. Hannon.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Miller. So we are on item 7A. I'll entertain a motion to recess into executive session to discuss funding for pending employee retirement.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Can you please call roll?
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn? Yes. Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes. We
We
are in
will.
executive session. Does everyone know who needs to come in?
Yeah, do I need to come in? All right. Yeah.
I think Justin should do that.
Well, he should have, actually. That was the secret.
Yeah, right.
Why isn't Justin?
I thought it was. Well, wait a minute now. Stop it.
No.
Wait a minute now.
How's your neck?
What's going on?
I'm gonna have to rejet that thing in the spring. It says roots. That's what we're gonna jet it in the spring, and the Camel's gonna, Portage County's gonna record that for us to see where it come in.
Why not?
I noticed some around the catch basin, so I could seal that catch basin up.
Dude,
It's on
private
the
property.
other spot I could've got in.
private property.
It's the 45s that we put in. But
Four?
those were snap sealed.
That's awesome. You'll see it going down here.
Those were all sealed. Now I
If it
wish
doesn't, I'll come
Now I
out.
wish I would've just ran.
Start
out.
jumping up and down.
Because of that.
All of our
Just
ADA
try
ramps,
it first.
all of our ADA ramps are not.
That's what it is.
Oh my goodness, dude.
I can't believe it. It's the craziest thing.
It is a great.
Oh, yeah, he showed me a picture of them roots. So I don't know how far they're in there, but I bought a rip cutter for our new back. But yeah, as long as it's running now, I don't care. If it doesn't, yeah, if it doesn't, we gotta start to shoot it.
Good.
No.
So.
Trade wars are typically less in manufacturing communities.
The only thing I could think is those 45s that we
Huh? I said trade wars are bad for, he asked me what's going on, I said trade wars are bad for manufacturing communities.
with the rubber.
I see, they have a rubber gasket on.
Rubber gasket? Yeah. That's,
Saying I can't buy tables for you.
That's an awful aggressive.
Yeah.
In a short period of
My
time.
job is simply to inform council what they do with that.
I was amazed.
For them, rather.
What kind of ornaments?
I just wonder where you were.
Yeah. I'm like, we've got 21 foreign-owned companies in Streetsboro. You're like, what kind of ornament do you want?
I like that.
It'd be fun. To go from the.
How much is it?
Yeah.
What?
Oh. That's a lot. Yeah, broke up the road.
Is that
there.
from China?
Yeah, yeah, we'll be doing that. Yeah, yeah, we gotta redo that. Yeah, that's where I do love the time we jet it. Yeah, I work with the county, cause it's their camera truck. I gotta put my budget together for how we're gonna beautify the city. That's good. That's an awesome. Budget bonus for us.
Then he,
I'm hoping it's not gonna watch it, it's gonna be what's gonna be.
even the crowd.
We can, at least with that camera, we can.
Stephanie was like,
when I
"That guy
go in,
sucks."
I'm,
Is
you
he
know,
even a
probably
pro?
gonna dig it up and fix it.
For what it's worth, I mean, I keep that from the
is the
catch
golf
basin
thing
down
on tomorrow?
an area mowed for access, right?
Yeah.
At least on my side of the property line. And there's nothing big going on, there's no
No.
like pines or willows or nothing like
Pines
that.
don't even do that bad, it's them damn willows. They're bad news.
They're constantly looking for water.
But he looks
Yeah.
sleepy.
I don't know how they got it. Yeah, I don't know how they got in there.
I guess I know, because I was
No,
right now today.
you had your power nap.
Hopefully it would only be.
When do you get to kick up Sharon?
That's what I'm.
Tomorrow.
Or the 245.
Said it's supposed to be bad.
I can't remember the 45. 22 is just, if it's just a couple of
is-
spots.
It's sitting right out there.
That's what I thought, because I was wondering if you were here.
I know, I'm dying because I want to go to the car wash.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Really want to go to the car wash.
It's concrete, so they can't get back.
Yeah, they said tomorrow morning is dry, it's gonna be bad.
Well, I'm not going till the afternoon.
Oh, that's good.
I wish, we
But
were talking about it
south,
afterwards,
so
I was
I
like,
don't
man,
know
I
if
should.
that's-
Where's he at?
6 inches.
He's in
of that
Fairlawn at Crystal
LSM
Clinic,
over that whole way.
Oh.
at their new hospital, surgical center.
Yeah, what it's
You need
not.
a
the whole
Fair-
thing, but I
Fairlawn?
because it's only for one month.
Why?
Outside of Akron.
Yeah, it's.
Whatever, from that catch basin, from that catch basin.
Really nice
Yeah,
facility.
in front of the trees.
Yeah, my wife went there to have back surgery
Wouldn't have been
a
that.
couple years ago.
Jerome went,
And then if it gets worn out,
he was in the other building except for the last foot surgery. Then he was at the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And then
Oh,
this time he was at the hospital.
Money, so.
But he had carpal tunnel surgery,
Oh, okay.
and I had the same thing, but we went up in the other building, and they had surgical suites up there.
How long before you know if it worked?
it's decent.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
almost right away.
I'm not gonna
Really?
say it
Yeah.
was bad.
He had to have his
because
redone,
Engineering
Oh,
wise,
okay.
but,
it was well
mine was
done,
done like
right?
a million years
Suited,
ago, and
Right.
it's fine.
Okay.
It's still, my finger's still locked up, but I think that's some arthritis.
I certainly-
Yeah, I get pain here. I don't know if it's carpal tunnel or,
Oh, no.
Jerome had it all
That
the way
part
up,
of it.
oh, no, I don't have it all good. No.
because he wouldn't go get it taken care of.
Well, hopefully that works out. We see anything.
Yeah, if it starts backing up, please give me a call. We'll run out there and shoot it real quick, get it back open.
She just,
Yep.
she didn't miss a beat. I did.
What up, big man? Nothing much. How are you?
It's just organizational combustion. And so,
You guys have 5-year, 35%. They have any other ideas?
we,
This is pretty common of what we give for
See,
redevelopment.
it's recommending pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I sent her everything.
You can go 15 years and 100%.
She's got,
After what, 92?
graphics
Before that,
and
95, but yeah, pretty good for you though. That's excellent. Half
House
people-
within a year.
Randy.
Yeah, look, half people in my profession don't understand the difference. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I told her Look, at the end of the day,
That's pretty reasonable. I think it's for the people's job.
How big it is, because she was asking, was it a pile truck, a small truck, like, you know, I don't know.
Redeveloping existing cities.
correct.
That's a good thing for us.
Okay, yeah, so she should have it.
I think
plow truck will be later.
there's no way that we go wrong, right? Because the schools in the
yeah, right
they
after
make
we talk
more
to
money.
you.
They make a lot more money. So does everybody else.
She should have it all.
It's a little thing that you throw
Yeah,
out.
I just want to do it with
Come
you.
on, we're serious. Come with us.
No, I get it.
35%
Well, like,
is respectable enough where you know it's not like
graphics off the old one, or just get sticky.
you know,
Not stickers, but like magnets.
you know? Cause realistically,
Well, plus the 5 years.
I don't know, across that. The way that I always look at
Is it even
things
worth it,
is,
right?
what is the value of the tax abatement relative to what they're investing?
I talked to
The value
Justin
of the tax
earlier
abatement
today,
relative to what Lincoln Missouri's investing is 1%.
before the meeting started, and I wanted to know if we could go into an executive session, just on a meeting, just to discuss, you know, things going forward as far as Caroline coming back and not coming back, and what kind of stuff is that out of line? Because I don't know how to do it. I would want to do it all at once, but given the nature of Caroline's situation, I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about that on the floor.
Yeah. You're really supposed to only do it for like compensation of employees and if their actual job position, if she's not gonna come back.
Well, she's probably coming back, but she's just not ready to now. She sent an email to Shauna and copied Justin and I on it. And I just want to get some kind of idea of what their expectations are. I mean, I said I'd be here through the end till she comes back. And then I got to him and asked me, well, what if we made this like a permanent thing? Would you be interested in it? And I'm like, you know what? Number one, I don't like that when one council person comes to me and says this, and one council person comes to me and says that. I'd like to get them all in a room and make sure that they're all, but see, then we got four, we have a quorum, and we can't
Yeah.
talk about things.
I don't know if it fit into the exceptions.
Well, Justin seemed to think it did, but I would rather talk to you about that.
Well, you can do it if you want. I don't think you're not really voting on anything.
No, I don't wanna know what their expectations are, and they need to know what my expectations are. You know?
Well, they
'Cause
want
we
an
run in-
executive session to hire
Yeah.
you, so it's about you and,
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is, and I'm technically an employee.
no, you're not technically, you are an employee.
Well, I don't
Just
work for
design-
the city.
Just design.
I don't work for these people.
Go ahead, I think you can probably.
We were
stretch it.
talking about the meeting, like service committee next month.
Oh, okay.
Okay, nothing tonight, nothing.
Oh, I thought you meant tonight.
No,
It's like,
no,
boy,
no,
that's a
no,
snap decision.
No, no, I don't, you know me, I'm the overthinker.
I'll make sure you can do it, before.
This is based on
Yeah.
projections today.
But, yeah, I can understand. It would be frustrating, yeah.
Well, you know, it's not that I'm frustrated.
I
it's
save
not
stuff-
that I'm
well, I
having
don't
a bad
save it,
time
I just
with
always have stuff
I
to
just
do.
wanna know. I mean, I think I have that right.
No, you do.
to-
You guys are just
to know.
gluttons for
She's
punishment.
not- I didn't even know that she doesn't.
I already
go see-
shopped on Amazon.
He
did, he's shopping on Amazon.
So she can't
What'd you buy me?
technically come back till she's released
He
to
bought a
come back.
martini
Right,
shaker.
And then when Wishnet
He's into
called me,
martinis now.
he was council president when I got hired.
Dirty martini.
He said, oh, like 6, 12
I'm
weeks,
experimenting with sweet ones too.
you know?
Yeah, see,
And
I
I'm
like stuff that sneaks up on you,
I know, Steve,
just like gingerbread martini.
I'm just like,
I've tried
Over
a
it.
blueberry martini and a
But-
lemon drop. The lemon drop you made was good.
Mix those together.
I did.
Blueberry
I just,
lemonade.
It was very good.
you know, I've got, you know,
Did you
plans
muddle
too.
blueberries
I
in
mean,
it?
and we did
No.
the surgery today.
I didn't have any.
Thinking that, you know, I should be back
Correct, it's based on the
part of the time.
Did you know that you
come
can buy
back
a whole jar
for a
of
couple
olive
days
juice?
or, you know, something.
You can buy everything on
Not that it made
Amazon.
any difference at all, because
Apparently we can buy a
for
car.
48 years, we make everything work, it just doesn't
You know
matter.
what you need to get is
You
a
know,
slushy
and
maker.
we both have a strong
You know, I did look
sense
at those for our
of
camper.
responsibility and
For like blue Hawaiians.
obligation. You have an obligation, you take care of it.
For anything, you can make milkshakes, slushies.
And that was the
I'll
hard part.
My husband had his
You know, I just,
tonsils taken out and his deviated septum fixed
I'll look at
at the same time.
yeah, I mean, it's just more,
But
and I'm
he
not
got the
trying to talk
slushy
you out of it,
machine
but
like 2
it's
months
more
ago.
of just an
It just
informational
appeared
thing
at my
so we can
house.
all
I'm
get
like,
on the same page with this.
but
Because I don't
you can
want-
make anything that, it has to have a little bit of sugar in it, like you can't use diet.
Standing by the door all day.
Otherwise it just freezes solid. But you can take pretty much any liquid and make it a slushy, so.
That's all I have
That's
to
fruit
tell
pie
you.
instigated, so.
I'll be
I'm
able to
sure.
look at
Root beer,
it. Just
like regular root beer and make a slushy out of it. Oh, it's so good.
employees.
See, now I was sitting here thinking about
You're
my meal,
discussing
like Diet cream soda.
Yeah,
So that would.
I mean, and
might
it's,
have to
it's-
put-
wanted to ask you,
everybody knows
You might have
what's
to put
going
like a
on.
little bit of
And
simple
all the
syrup
folks
in
here
it.
know, I mean,
Because
she's
it's
got
gotta
something
have,
and they, you know,
I
they
think like
have to
8 grams of sugar per.
Right, and I don't feel.
8 or
like
12
that
ounces.
in them.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a replacement bag for
Just because I didn't know if it doesn't have any sugar in it, it just freezes. It doesn't like slush up.
Anyway, I have a
So I don't think the rum has enough sugar content in it
ask him to talk about
to
you.
prevent
I looked
that.
at one of those for our camper, I said that would be fun.
Okay.
But you can make milkshakes.
I just thought you wanted an answer right this second.
Oh, God.
I've been
I'm
wanting.
like,
Well, you
I'm
don't
gonna
have
go
to
the
use
opposite
regular
way.
milk. You
I'm
can
on
use
your
like
side,
oat
Dave.
milk.
I'm on your side.
11 o'clock.
Try to give you as much time as.
There's unsweetened like oat milk.
And
You're in the
I found
office.
myself in this situation now with this criminal
Oh, I
disclosure.
just got oat milk. I really like it.
File with Portage County.
The
to
sweetened is, I
responsible.
haven't tried the unsweetened. I was gonna use that with my,
And you weren't here, and I went to
powder.
because you weren't here when this was all
sitting
done.
on my
and we
kitchen
tried to get
counter,
rid of
'cause
it.
We'll do that, because I have.
Why would I need
would
to
just do it
remember
right
that this
now, but I
morning?
don't know.
So
how
I
long
needed
it
to
will.
know, when did that 5 days?
Yeah, I was
start?
about 5 miles away from my
Calendar
house,
days.
and
Well,
I'm
it's
like,
calendar days, and it starts.
I'll be hungry this
The new
morning.
one up real
And then I
fast.
was closing the office.
I haven't even
today,
opened
and
the box yet.
I
the
just call
slushy
board
thing
elections
is-
every day. You know, and I sent
I made
an
slushies
email
for him
to
every
the four
day.
that I knew were running.
Like Powerade,
whole petitions
Gatorade.
To say, you know, it's gonna be closed this day, and it's gonna be closed part of Tuesday, so.
20-ounce
you know,
bottle
gave him
took
my cell phone number.
a light slush
Let
was
me know
probably
when you
about
file,
10 minutes.
so that I can make
15, it
arrangements
was
to
like
be there,
a
and I
full,
got
like,
that
just
done.
like
Right now.
something that you get out of like a
I only
restaurant.
work 32 hours a week.
It,
If they come in, I mean, if they come in between 8 and 4:30.
You wanna send it to me?
and
no,
I'm
it's a
not
ninja
here,
slushy. It's a little on
because
the,
I run out of hours, and I've
it's
got,
super fun.
February 5th is the final deadline,
like it.
so
And it cleans really easy.
yeah, so, I mean, but I just thought, you know what, I can come back
I think it's
and
worth the
fill
investment.
this form out with them and sign it. It's not a big deal. And then I was hoping.
Yeah, because when you told me that this was having that issue,
3
I
out of the 4 would be.
put it out to our T-Mobile rep,
Well, 2 of them
and she
filed
was
today.
like, well, the phone's brand new.
So
we're
I
just
got that
replacing it."
done. So, Mike Lampa and John.
Yeah, that's why I'll just have you do it here in
Hannon.
2 seconds.
Oh, that's,
It's Mike Lampa. He was on before.
Oh, yeah, I was looking through some minutes for social media,
It might not need it.
which, it was fun, I was laughing when I saw that you just wanted to move.
We're gonna have it on the deck?
I told them several times, you know, when I would come up for, if they asked to
sure
be
how many-
appointed to fill an unexpired term or something.
I don't know how much you can put in the size that we
Never
have,
on Facebook.
because the
I
20
don't.
ounce,
I just
like
can't.
Powerade that we use for him. I mean, that,
I'd be having
I
a
could,
complete nervous
I'm
breakdown.
guessing put at least 3 of those in it.
Cause the one I'm looking at is 48 ounce, oh no, 72 ounce.
Yeah, that's probably that
Personal
one.
stuff with family, that's different.
You know, and my daughter-in-law was, she is a vice president of human resources.
Yeah, they're just doing.
For, I can't remember the name of the company,
And you don't have to put
but,
ice in it, right?
she won't even have Facebook.
No, I mean, we use
No.
cold,
Yeah, your
Powerade, just
iCloud
out of the
password.
refrigerator.
Do you remember what that
They
is?
And then,
monitor
yeah, but you can't put ice in
Their
it.
own page, their company has a page that's monitored. You know, it's I know it's a little bit different when it's, you know, governmental agency and everything like that, but I never thought that anybody
Capital M,
should be running
Does
that
coconut
page.
cream have any sugar in it?
I never think that. But,
Probably safe not to.
exactly.
But
Yeah, I've never
It was
tried
not
it,
an
so I didn't know if it
official
has natural sugars in it or not.
two of us working together, There's we'll some
Oh,
get called it. talk at the
If
town.
it's
Don't
got
ask me
pineapple
why,
juice in it, that should have
like, I
enough,
looked at
anything
you and
that's
I'm
got
like, wait,
like
I
a
don't
real
remember
juice
it.
is gonna have enough sugar in it.
Really, they're not official.
How many
But I
rats
thought,
are just floating
because I
around
like
up here? I'm shocked.
sparkling ice, they're
That's
sugar free,
on there because
and
people get on there. It's
Talking
real
about
easy to get behind a
Oh,
keyboard
yeah,
warriors, you know,
And
and do that kind of crap.
those are
And you
really
don't
good,
have a clue
and they're,
about
you
what's
know,
going on.
locale, not too bad for you.
I tried to
That you
always
can't just put straight in there, cause it
think
just,
that, you
it'll
know, most
block
people go
ice.
through their
Did you
whole
drive
life
instead of
and
slush,
you go to
so
City Hall.
there needs to just be a
Before we
little bit
leave,
of sugar,
we can
something
do it
in
real
there.
fast if you
I
want
think
to.
it was my
Yeah,
job
just like,
to educate.
I mean, figure like 8 grams, that's,
Just carry on about something.
that's
I have
not a
no
lot
problem
for
with that.
a decent sized drink.
You know, let's breathe, let's just calm down. What are your specific questions? Most of them are, like, they were afraid that somebody was getting something that somebody else wasn't.
That will make a nice addition to camping
There was
season.
no animosity between the mayor's
Not like we don't have
office.
the room.
Yeah,
I mean, that's I can't think of anything else.
It's gotten a little better, but not much.
Yeah, I don't have any
Being
other
back
gadgets I
in
would
it
recommend for
from a different
camping.
angle. Yeah.
I think that one's perfect.
I
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have spent the money,
No, see,
but like I said, it just showed up at my house, cause my husband likes to shop.
you know, I have the advantage that I don't have to go and talk about it.
No, he got it months before that. It showed up and, well, and then it just disappeared, and I'm like, well, where did it go? I know you didn't get rid of it,
I started as a
but I
medical
don't go
stenographer
searching for stuff, cause then I
in the
just find
hospital,
other
but
stuff
then I
that makes me
moved
mad.
into the law stuff, cause I figured, well.
But yeah, then we had
be a lawyer
before he
now.
had his surgery, before he went in, it just miraculously appeared on the kitchen counter, and I'm like,
But some of the medical malpractice stuff, just, I steered myself away from
Yeah,
that.
that's hard.
I have the Ninja Creamy too, to make ice cream or sorbet.
Especially when it's your son's doctor.
That one's me, and I've never made it.
I was in a position about that. If juries are competent enough to
Seriously, I
they're
know.
certainly competent enough to spend how much money to make something.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I look around at some of the people that are.
I'd have to hide it in my office and be the only one that would touch it.
What have we become?
So, here, look at
You've
this.
been around those scavengers.
I wouldn't want to be charged with
These are
things
the assumptions. So over 30
roll the
years.
dice.
Yeah,
If
Jerome just got jury
Summers
duty
hasn't.
So why you really
a couple months back,
Give or take, right?
and
was
he
shared
never had to
everywhere.
go. He called when he was supposed to, and.
You know how hard it is
I
to
would
find a
like-
good qualified,
I would like
or
to
not even,
go
you don't even,
and see if they-
qualified's a hard,
they
like
can
harsh.
properly
You don't even have to be qualified. We'll make you qualified. But to have like the
they probably-
personality
I got removed.
and the inherent skill to be a dispatcher,
Because I'm sure they take a lot.
It's okay.
I was working for Scanlon and Garringer.
it's not as bad as like other places. You know, some of the people that they're
was,
talking about, like the high
I could have
turnover.
worked with him. I had another offer that I took, but he
See,
was
we
gracious
had
enough to write me a
retire,
letter for
retire,
the Navy JAG.
Moved
Because
out
he
of
was in the
state.
Marine JAG. He's like, don't go in the Marines, because
To go
it's
back
real,
home.
it's tough. Yeah,
Stayed in
yeah,
dispatching.
I thought he was great.
Went to
Yeah, I
another
liked him.
agency where
I-
she
and
never
Tim
had to work by
Scanlon,
herself,
they
because
were
sometimes
good
ours
people.
do.
They were good people. They treated.
But
they
that's
treated
our
me well.
turnover. So like, we don't
That was
have
when
like
my
this
son
massive
was getting sick.
So you
turnover.
said 3 retired.
We were flying
Yeah,
to
we've
St.
had a
Louis
couple
and
retire.
They're like, whatever you need. You need.
Two went to other agencies, because one moved out of state, she went back home where she came from.
It's
the same one.
Yeah, okay.
And then Rockwell
I think
offered
the
to
last
give it
one
to me
before that, we had one that didn't make it.
if he had.
Need
to
an
be
extra?
sick.
She just was not, you know, forgot
Take
where
it.
people were at.
Yeah.
Just over the limit.
Place it,
No, she's good at what she does.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
the last one.
It is.
No,
Yeah,
she
this
just-
one's
Yeah, that's,
USB-C.
She was scary for the
old
road guys,
ones
like I did not want her out there.
were- So they are different.
She was taking people's phone numbers and putting,
I gave you a block, right? Charging.
I found out about that later. We had officers
Yeah.
stop by from other departments for work
I
stuff.
had no idea it was that.
She took their phone
yeah.
numbers.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I didn't know that until after she was gone.
Fairly confident.
It's,
I'm like, you can't do that.
my mother was.
Yeah, it should
But,
transfer every.
but it isn't a lot of, for us, it's not a lot of turnover, it's just retirement,
Once it's
so.
complete, telling me
He died when
to
he was
wipe it back to
62.
factory. And then once I do that, we'll test call, make sure everything is.
You know, I mean, during the day it's busier, but
And then,
I know
I'll
Jerome
Like you
file
figure we
one
had-
out.
He died- he
Well,
was
transfer the
40.
case.
I'd have to look at the
And then
stats to
box
like
it
give you
out.
the specific numbers, but like last year we had over 20,000 calls for service.
Yeah.
Now that's officers signing traffic stops, fire department,
And then his brother is the third
calls
one.
coming in, 911 calls coming in,
And then the little tiny picture is his
anything
younger brother.
How do you know?
Trying to get a.
Bears.
Yeah. And 2
Oh,
counts
the
of
calls
people.
don't go there, they just come to us.
You see the one in the
Yeah,
upper
our
left?
dispatch, yeah, and then we page out our dispatchers page out the fire department.
Yeah.
So I would have to look and see like how many 911 calls, but we have like restrictions on how long 911 calls can ring in order to keep our PSAP.
When was the
So we
first
break
one?
it
When
down,
was
I
the
think
first
we
one?
answer 98% of our calls in like 14 seconds.
Was it in the 60s? That, I don't know. It's,
I'm too emotional.
You want some good reading.
Yeah, you really can't be.
Caroline's synopsis. She has lists.
Yeah, but really the only requirement that you have to come in with, other than the ability to
when did we go from a village
not
to
be
a city?
emotional,
In the 60s.
Okay, so that's when
we gotta type 35 words a minute.
I was looking through some of the minutes, I was looking for
So,
some.
I mean, it's not,
The water.
no, that's actually pretty easy to do.
Water.
I mean, when I'm kinda trying,
We used to go to
I can
city
get up
council.
around 80.
Every police officer that was.
And I'm not that great at it. My sister used to do like 120.
Every fireman, because they were volunteers.
I don't think she could do it anymore, but she used to.
And some of the stuff that we had in the minutes, every grievance.
But yeah, the people that can't,
Before city council.
like that want to know what, like, we put everything, the links for everything are there, and then they just want to ask us what are the job
Long
requirements.
enough.
Well, let's see, the ability to find stuff out that you want to know with the
I've seen
information
the pictures and he still looks like a
is a
kid.
good job
I know, I
requirement.
read it, it was all there.
December 11th, 2011.
But I think.
It's like people don't
I
remember.
can't take money from.
So no, you wouldn't make that job.
The MRG. Are you ready?
No, because a lot of their job
Glad you're here.
is digging around and, I mean, a lot, they do have to ask the right questions. But if the information's there, they gotta be able to find it.
Cleveland Clinic.
And that's one of those ones, like, the information's all
It was
there.
a shoulder issue, but it was in my chest and everything. And I finally, I couldn't get any relief. I couldn't lay in any position or whatever.
But like you're telling me you hear fireworks?
And they start running these cardiac things on. The doctor.
No,
No. She's having a heart attack.
You're calling me
And I'm
because
like,
the
no,
power's
how
out?
can make it hurt.
Yeah, I bear all the.
Unless you heard a car hit a tree,
There was a male
you see a
nurse.
transformer on fire, we can't help you. We don't know when the power's coming back
He
on.
went in there too long.
When's trick or treat?
I lost
So
Jeff today.
I'm laying there, the doctor's getting mad, and so
they
this
have.
guy's telling us.
100%.
He goes,
100% they call 911 and ask stuff like
He's
that.
he's on.
911, the power's out.
It turned out that he took all my
Okay, it's windy outside.
I can't remember his name though. And he's sitting, and Jerome, I look at Jerome, and he's looking at me.
There's a snapping turtle in my backyard.
Oh, okay. You know, do you?
My neighbor's walking the dog on the
He goes,
sidewalk.
you know, he goes, I'm just part-time, he goes, and it's really pissing me off. He goes, we have to do all these drills and all these training things and stuff. He goes, that's supposed to
I'm
be
just
my
saying,
weekend off.
people have called,
And I thought you
people have called 911 for those.
He was like, oh, hell no. He said, chief, he just works all the time, we're drilling and we're doing this.
Give me enough time, I'll come up with some of the other good ones.
And I didn't want to get substandard care, so I
My
didn't
neighbor's
say.
grass clippings came into my yard.
But he went out of the room, and I said, I looked at Jerome, and I was hurting so bad.
They parked on the street in front of my house.
Who was his tailor?
Someone's taking pictures of my house, I'm sure they called for that one.
Big one. You can't even tell.
I've had people call for that.
And I said, man, that's some company.
We have had people call and say somebody's taking pictures of my neighbor's house.
And then Jerome had to quit.
It's all right, see something, say something. I'm good with it.
You know, so, and.
The best is-
He said, and then he's, well, you know,
The best
he's
is,
gonna be
there was a car sitting in front of my house running for the last 2 hours. Okay, what color is the car? Oh, I don't know, it just left.
He drive that squad. He just, he didn't go to work for pictures and did the x-ray equipment, diagnostic equipment.
I saw somebody climbing into a window at my neighbor's house. Okay, are they still there? No, it was like 2 hours ago.
We were young and he was offered all these jobs, you know,
That happens a lot.
but he wouldn't do that fireman.
I mean, sometimes I get it, because people start thinking about it, and they're like, oh, I probably should have quit. But
Yeah. And he just,
really, at that point,
and he's,
I saw him
he
leave.
was getting angry.
Were they carrying a TV?
What? You know all the guys up there?
They don't last for long. Everybody goes out one way.
There is some humor to the job.
Yeah, I can see that. You'd have to find it somewhere. Like, see, I could never have a camera because if somebody called me like that, I'd be like,
And I'll tell you what, I appreciate it because like I told you, when they came to the house that time when I had that.
It can be a lot of fun, but it can also be,
And they were very kind.
it can be horrible. It really can.
And I knew them, and they knew me. And Jerome's sitting
The
at
funny
the kitchen
ones?
table, you know, watching the whole thing. Bernie comes in,
They're kind of consistent.
defibrillators on the gurney, you know.
We have some
and-
heavy
and the young
breathers
one
that like to
standing-
call.
Tim Hinkle was on that call.
One of them likes one of my
So,
dispatchers.
he's like, we're gonna start an IV, and he was telling me everything we're doing, and he gave me the little tricks, you know, to try to get it to stop.
It's funny.
And it had been elevated for a couple of hours at this point.
Yeah. Welcome to law enforcement.
Reset your cartridge, we're gonna reset things. And he goes, it's gonna hurt. And he put that in the IV, my gosh, I thought they were just pulling my ribs, like when Indiana Jones pulling someone's beating heart out of their chest. Ah, I thought I was. And Joe's just sitting there. So then it starts coming down, and they put me up there on the thing. I'm still in my IV, ears all crazy. So they take her down the hospital, and they, you know, we're gonna watch you, and they would take blood every so many hours and do all that stuff. But it didn't come down, and then here comes my boss. His dad's on the board of directors at the hospital, and but I'm in a hospital gown and all crazy here. Here comes Mike Gilletto in a suit, because that's how he goes to work. And he goes, because I called and told him I wouldn't be in. But, so he comes in, he's hiding, and I'm like, fine, I'm alright. I was embarrassed, but yeah, and then they come out and that was it. They ended up having to have an ablation, but.
My wife used to have that. She had several incidents of that where she had.
I had another one after that, and they had to give me 2 doses of that stuff. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like somebody had painted on everything red. Like it poured red. I couldn't see anything. And then the person in the emergency room, I was up in Twinsburg.
Yeah, it's, it could be 15 minutes, it could be an hour.
That would last an hour and a half.
It's not gonna hurt, it's just gonna reset your heart, you know. And I
Should have asked sooner, you had the magic touch.
Hi, Shauna. Good, how are you?
Order.
I said to John, I said, they stopped me. Now you, he goes, where do you get it? I'm like, this is like retired.
Oh, I know it is.
That was the best and worst trip I ever had.
The only thing I saw was.
I had like 300 hours there. Sometimes, and we don't have a limit. How much we can take. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 hours in court, 10 hours or something.
If I take in, saving my money by paying. When you retire, don't you save that money?
I get it.
Because if I take off, they pay overtime.
It's gotta be temps. Some stuff smells good.
You good? I'll entertain a motion to reconvene from executive.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are back in our finance meeting. Item C, T7725, purchase New Holland TS6120 tractor with boom arm mower. Mr. Bill Miller.
Yeah, this is a new roadside mower. Our old one is 24 years old, going on 25. We got our use out of it. We're gonna actually trade that in. This actually has the arm that can reach out 20 feet, so we can get behind guardrails. It's a bigger tractor, so we can keep everything a lot further back cleaned up in different areas. It was budgeted for this year, so. And that'll be coming out of my equipment line item 401-5157-45.
Any questions regarding? Mr.
Talking
Mishnah.
about you have to take it down there for something, I was reading the letter, something about fixing something or attaching something to ours.
Oh, the tractor, we gotta take it and get the arm put on it.
You just take it down.
It'll actually get dropped
They
off
install
up
it.
there, then they'll install it. We
That's
won't,
all
we
part
won't
of
do that. Yeah, it's all part of the whole
The whole
bid.
price.
Yep.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
So move.
First and a second to move.
Steve.
Thank you.
To move to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that item is moved. Moving on to item D, T7726, CRA regarding Winking Lizard, Inc. Mr. Amalia.
Thank you. Thank you. For your consideration is a CRA tax abatement with the Winking Lizard. The land is formerly used by a church at the corner of basically Liberty Corners and State Route 43 and Market Square. We had originally approached the Winking Lizard about taking over the Happy Moose. That facility is not priced appropriately and not parked enough for a brand of that size. The conversion should result in about $10,000 a year extra in property tax for us based on comparable research, real estate. And we can expect about $15,000 in net collections and income taxes from the 25 full-time employees and 25 part-time employers. We offered Winking Lizard a 35% 5-year rate and term. This mirrors the rate and term that we gave other redevelopment projects in the city and will help them cover the significant expenses that they're likely to occur from the treks and digging up the road to access the sewer. There are two important pieces to note with this legislation. One, a substitute contract will be provided which corrects a missing zero in the construction costs on page 3, which should read $1 million. And two, it is our custom to add emergency language to economic development deals, mainly just to avoid delays in construction. But we do also always try to give them the full 3 reads when possible. The notification provided to the city schools telling them about this so that we wouldn't vote on this until our finance committee meeting in February on the 24th. So I'm fine with 3 reads and leaving it as is and just passing it on emergency there. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Questions from City Council? Thank you, Mr. Amalia. Any questions from City Council regarding this item? Should we make an amendment to reflect the other zero?
If we're gonna do 3 reads, you can present us with the substitute rate. And we
That's
can-
correct,
okay.
yeah.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion to move this to first read.
So moved?
Second.
Wait, is it? No, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'll move it down there in
Okay,
regular council.
perfect. All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that item is moved. Item E, T7727, contract extension for arrow mark for pavement marking. Mr. Bill Miller?
That was in talk with Aeromark about the street striping. I'm gonna have to go out to bid next year. And they agreed to go ahead and keep the same prices for this year to get us through this year, and then we'll rebid this next year. So none of the prices changed. It's just exactly the same as the previous year. So I thought that was a pretty good deal to stay with it for the year.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions?
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Second.
I have a first and a second to move to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that item has been moved. Item F, T7728, dedicate the northwest perimeter road of the city square, Rich Tacklet Way. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr.
And I'll let you talk, you can talk about both of
Can I
them.
talk all
Yeah.
3 of them?
Yeah, all three, yep, perfect.
Yes. Yeah, it's essentially the same subject. As you know, a few years back, we renamed the police station, Rich Hackett Police Station, and that was in honor of his service to the police department. And we dedicated a road to him. Well, we dedicated Superior, and it just, you know, to me, having Rich Tacklet Way and Superior on the same sign, it doesn't have the same effect. So, I thought about it for a little while, and we have 4 roads that surround the perimeter of the square. They're not dedicated streets, and it gives us an opportunity to name something for those people who have had a significant contribution to the city. And the first 2 here, Rich Tacklet Way and Chuck Kosciuszko Way, will be, Chuck Kosciuszko Way would be the northeast corner where the Community Bulletin Board is, and then Chuck Kosciuszko Way, or excuse me, Rich Tacklet Way would be the northwest corner where the War Memorial is. And then it would still leave us 2 additional two additional areas that when someone deserving comes along, that we could honor them by naming that part of the road after them. The third one, and you guys, I had sent you an email out concerning this, and you did respond back individually, and it was a pretty unanimous decision, that we should go this way. And, one of the things that, Chuck had been involved with the city very intensely for quite a long time. And I wanted to honor him not only for his contributions in the civic portion, but for his contributions in the government portion. The government portion naturally is to rename part of the square for him. The civic portion is to rename the ball fields. And he was very instrumental and involved. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was the president of SJB for like 10 years. And he was kind of the headliner in getting Field 7 with the night lights for Field 7. He had two sets of dugouts. I think he's strong on Mr. Jambroni to get the two sets of dugs out, Field 5 and Field 7. And I felt it was fitting because he had so much to do with the parks that we named the ballparks. The Chuck Kosciuszko ball fields. Now there's 10 ball fields there. If we find someone, if someone, gets to the point where we feel we can name individual fields after people also. So there's two more rows on a square and 9 more ball fields. And I'm sure that eventually we will find those people, that have contributed significantly to it. And, what's that?
7's already Gary Hoover Field.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 is Huber Field. Exactly. So,
Just noting that for the record.
yeah. So, for 7728, 7729, and 7730, I'm asking council, we're gonna put it on, there's no need for emergency, can't do anything in the middle of winter anyway, so I would like to see these go to first read tonight if we could, please.
Mayor, I had a few questions for you regarding these. I think it's a great idea. I wanted to ask, what was the original idea behind naming Superior after Rich?
I don't know where that came from.
I think I remember. Because originally you wanted to name the park after him. And you wanted to name it Tacklet Park or instead of City Park. And I think I was on council at the time, and I had suggested would be more appropriate to rename the police station or something like a street.
Right.
And I think then that's why we went that direction, because council said, well, yeah, the park's not really.
There was a little overreach initially.
Yeah, why not the police station and or a street? So that's just where that was born out of. I don't know why Superior was chosen. I don't recall that.
No, neither do I. And I definitely think it's a lot more appropriate to name one of the roads in the square representative of the city. And I thought it was much more appropriate to name one of those. And they're not named already, so.
Yeah. It won't be a sub name. It'll be a. Yeah.
Right. Do you remember from when you were on city council? What? Anything specific about that?
Yeah, we had talked about that. I'm sorry. We had talked about that, and there was thought at that time about Superior didn't have many addresses to change, and they were businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was discovered later that we didn't have to change the addresses for the businesses. It would just be up there. That's how we ended up with 2 different
There you go.
street names on the same street.
And then my second question was, do you think we should have, I guess like their formal name, like is it Richard Tacklet? And like, I think he went by, like Rat or something. And then like Chuck would go by,
I don't think anybody would know him as Charles Kosciuszko.
well, like, like his obituary said, Charles J. Chuck Kosciuszko way. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to see what other people thought.
I would.
No.
Chuck Kosciuszko is Chuck.
Yeah, he went by Chuck, not Charles.
Yeah.
And then with the ball fields, now that I'm reading it, do you think we should maybe say like baseball, softball complex or something, like instead of ball fields?
I tell you what, if anybody, we've got 3 reads to decide on a name.
Yeah.
Okay. We had thrown it out. The word complex had come out. Also, the additional verbiage, the sign will go on the north face of the, on the north face of the concession stand, and we'll have 32 square feet to work with. You know, the verbiage that goes on there, you know, founder of SJB, Chuck Kosciuszko Baseball Complex. I mean, we can have on there whatever we so choose. I mean, I'd like the letters to be 8 to 10 inch letters so that the people can see them. But if you folks, if you have a recommendation or whatever, please send them my way. We are not stuck on one thing in particular, and I would like to honor him the best way that we can. And you know, if someone has an idea, and then before third read, you know, that's our deadline. You got a month from now, okay, to get the stuff in, and on third read, we'll assign a formal name to it, and that's what will go. Okay.
That's good.
All right. Any other discussion on those items?
I make a motion to send all three as first read to regular council.
Second.
I have a first read to, or sorry, I have a motion and a second to send items T7728, T7729, and T7730 all to first read. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, those are all moved. Item I, T7731, contract with Quality IP for backup IT services. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mr. Hanning. Good evening. This is our annual contract with a backup IT company just to provide backup support for me since I'm a one-man department. We are going with we're recommending that we go with a different company this year. Quality IP is a little bit larger, and they are also geared more on the cloud side of things, which is where we are wanting to go. They specialize in Office 365 in the cloud, having the servers hosted in the cloud, and it's all things that we want to accomplish, and they're very, very well versed at doing the migrations from on-prem to cloud-based, which is why I would really recommend that we go with them.
Any questions? Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to move this to tonight's full council meeting.
Second.
First and second to move this item to tonight's council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that item has been moved. Thank you, Mr. Koff.
Thank you.
T7732, authorized bids for mowing various city properties. Mr. Bill Miller?
Yeah, I'd like to get the permission to go ahead and go out to bid for, there's a list of properties that we used to mow with the part-timers and full-timers, but we're gonna go ahead and contract that out this year. We have better things that we need to do rather than mow lawns. We need to asphalt prevention program. We need to do more work with that. We need more culverts and storm sewer repairs to do rather than have full-time guys mow. And I have discussed it with the union, and they're fine with it. In fact, I just redid that Friday and talked with the union president.
Have you done any sort of cost analysis on it? I mean, like, are we saving anything by not hiring part-timers? Are we still hiring the part-timers? And this is a complete additional expense?
This would be an additional expense. We're still gonna have part-timers. I'll have one following the new roadside mower rather than a full-timer following them, doing stuff like that.
So some of it, we would have spent anyways.
Yeah, correct.
Do we budget for this?
We will, as soon as the bids come in, we'll have to do a budget adjustment.
An additional, so this is a.
Yeah, this is an
100%
additional to the budget.
additional.
Yes. It's an extra $120,000 a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's all I wanted to point that out.
Why do we own all of these properties?
Yes.
So like Market or NTB and Home Depot?
There's
Or-
there's strips in between the sidewalks that
Oh,
we
so
go
it's not
back.
that I got
It's
it.
not that entire area. Those are
Okay.
just like in between the businesses that we,
Yeah.
because of the sidewalks, the roadside doesn't work there. We gotta mow it with the finish mower.
Right, okay.
Would it be cheaper to just hire two more part-timers just to mow?
No, the problem with part-timers are you get the kids and that, and you got the cemetery stones. There's expenses they can hit that cost us. We had that a couple years ago. One stone was over $5,500, I believe it was. So solely the responsibility would be on the company. If I have an issue, I will just call the company and they will have to pay for that kind of damage if they do it.
What if they don't own up to it? Or what if they don't tell anybody?
Well, if they're the only ones cutting,
They're the only ones
and a
cutting,
stone
yeah.
gets broke.
Yeah. We used to do this years ago and I didn't
Yeah.
have any issues contracting it out. Anytime I had an issue, I'd just go meet with them and walk through it and they would take care of it.
This is like 120,000, seems like you get a lot of part-timers for that. I don't know. Like, what were we paying the part-timers who just?
Well, part-timers are like $17 an hour.
Do we
But then
know-
you also,
Matt, do you know what we spent on them?
but don't forget you got the equipment. You got $10,000 a mower, you got a trailer, you got a truck, you got insurance, you got fuel. I mean, there's a
Right,
lot
we want
more.
all that stuff for the city to mow with.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's all getting older. And, you know, you start buying trucks, they're 50, 60 grand right there. It just doesn't make sense for us to do it.
Mayor?
The big thing is finding those people that wanna do it.
Yeah, I bet.
That is, I mean, we've had a hard time finding seasonal labor, and that's exactly what this would be seasonal labor. And to find the amount of people, you would probably need, at least 3 or 4 that are going to be here.
Nobody's satisfactorily answered the question of what do we spend on part-timers to mow now?
So,
Versus what?
It's
the 120
combination.
I know we're gonna.
It's a combination of part-timers and full-timers that mow
What
right
do we
now.
spend? Is it 120?
Well over that, so,
You think just to mow?
just to mow, yes. You start figuring equipment and everything out, it's really expensive.
How much time do we spend mowing?
How much time do?
Just an estimate.
Oh, it's probably a
It-
full-time job also.
It depends on how we do the cemetery. Sometime I take 3 or 4 guys in there and let them weed whip it, and then the 2 mowers run 3 days. So if it's just the 2 mowers running it and weed whipping, it's a week's worth of work for us. Where a company can bring in 6, 7, 10 guys, it doesn't matter, you know, and knock the whole area out real quick.
How did you come to the, I mean, how do you know it's gonna be 120 grand to do it all?
That's just an estimate.
Where did that come from?
I talked to some landscapers, went through the time that it would take, and that's just a rough estimate, was 100 to 120. So once we get the bids in, we'll know.
Mayor?
With, you know, and the big thing behind this is our service department is not that large. And April to October is our time to do the repairs and stuff that we need to do on the roads and the culverts and stuff like that. And when we have to dedicate 3 or 4 or 5 guys, basically the entire week to mowing, those are people that we're not being able to use to do the crack sealing, to dig the culverts, to clean the ditches that run through Briarroot subdivision and the rest of them. And these are things that got behind, and these things are very important. The putting someone on a lawnmower, to me, is counterproductive from the standpoint that if we had a bunch of people working in the service department and we had them sitting around doing nothing, but by them being on the lawnmower, it is keeping us from getting the more important things. You know, grass mowing is important, but there's things that are more important to us for those guys that they can be working on. And that was the whole driving force behind this, was to better utilize.
The union just gave it up?
Yeah, they were fine.
They know it's 120,000?
That doesn't,
We're not
that
laying
doesn't matter
anybody
to
off.
them. But keep in mind, we're not laying anybody off. We're trying to utilize our union workers for better work that they need to do. We gotta protect our investment in the roads, the storm sewers. That's what we're trying to do. The mowing, the mowing is minute compared to the other stuff that we need to get done. And that's the way I look at it. And it's not the 120,000. It's to get all the other work done that we need to keep getting caught up.
Larry, go ahead.
Just as a point of reference, we're going to be doing a huge project in 2026. And because of the things that Billy's crew was able to do, and we could have done more, we were able to get a 10% reduction in the amount that the city would have had to fund. It's going to be, the ratio is going to be 90-10. And what was that? What did it come up to, Justin?
It was approximately
230 some?
248,000.
Yeah, 200. So we saved, by having our guys being able to do this type of work, we saved about 250,000, close to $250,000 on a project.
What's the project?
Are we going to talk about that later?
We talked about with part of council, it's in the 5-year plan, but we're gonna have to increase the budget
You
adjustments.
want me to capsulize it for you right now? I mean, we're talking about something else. You want me to talk about it during mayor's report?
Sure.
All right, I'll give it to you during mayor's report, okay?
Is there a way for us to get quotes on this or bid it ahead of time without putting in the 120?
That's just an estimate. We're bidding it out for a price. That was just to get a ballpark on what it's
I'm
gonna
saying, like,
cost.
can't you go out, get bids and say, look, I went and I talked to all these companies and I actually had them look at the properties and give me a.
Over 25, we have to have a
It's
bid.
this much, it's 70 grand, you know, I just feel like
I have to go
we
through.
just spent, not to go into what's an executive session, but we're talking about money and scrimping and saving, and now and I come out here and I'm asked to just, you know, sanction another 120, like it's real easy.
A year.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a one-time.
Right, and I'm thinking there's a cost benefit, but this is straight up like, no, we need an extra 120 grand.
Well, I have to go through the bid process. If something, we have the right to reject any and all bids when it's all
Like,
done.
can't you go out and get quotes and come to us and say, hey, I'd like to replace the mowing program with this company, and I went out and got
But
the quotes,
I
and this
get-
is what it would be for the whole city.
Above 50,000, I have to bid it out to the bid process,
Right.
not just go out and grab.
We have to authorize them to
go out to bid. So if the bids would come out ridiculously high, we would look at that and then.
Well, I'm just saying,
Why
if
do
I
we
see there's
keep-
120 grand and they can do it for 60, they're gonna bid 119.
Yeah. Why do we have to put a number in there, say
That's what
maximum
I'm
of?
saying, why are we
just say-
budgeting it before we know what it costs? We really don't know what it costs yet at all.
Do we normally put a?
It's not, the 120 is not gonna be in the bid package.
But it's public record now.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you're listening too much.
No, I'm
Got
just
an
a little
audience.
At the end
concerned.
of the day, you're gonna have 10 people bid on it. They're gonna have to bid. If they wanna bid 120, then they're gonna bid that. But you're gonna have people that want the job. It's not like they're gonna think that if I go 120, I'm getting it.
And it was-
It's still competitive bidding. They bid so much per square yard or something on it, so.
Well, it's like plowing and mowing.
Yeah.
You've gotta set your terms, which is who's setting the terms of how often they mow? Is this something where the more they go, the more it costs us? Or is it something
Typically
where
it's-
you call them and say, hey, we'd like the cemetery to be mowed once every 3 weeks, once every week? Or do they just say, hey, we were out there 4 times this week?
No,
you know,
typical mow season's 28 mows. If it gets into a drought or something, that'll be part of the stipulation that I can call it off and say, hey, we don't need to mow for 2 weeks. But on an average, you mow 28 times a year.
28. So that's what the bid would be based on?
Yeah, it'd be each one of these properties will have a price per cut for the whole thing.
Is that something that you might pick and choose, like just have them do the cemetery? Like, what's your biggest time-consuming property that you have to cut? If someone were just to do the cemetery and the price was more favorable, would you do something like that?
I would have to look at it when the bids come in.
Mr. Lombardo, you had your hand up, and then after that, I'll call on Mr. Amalia.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Mr. Miller, I understand that you have projects and that's kind of tough for you. So you don't think that hiring 3 part-timers all year, like I don't know how recruitment is, but what if you hired 3 part-timers for the whole year to be on your team? that's gonna be less than 120,000. Do you think that would be better?
It's
But-
about
but
five
is-
grand,
but is-
just under $5,000 a mow. I did the math. It's four-
Like, I'm just saying, would you rather
When you
add,
Keep in mind all the equipment. When you start getting a pickup, a trailer, 2 mowers, weed whip, gas,
Yeah.
fuel, insurance.
no, I mean,
It's all-
I owned a landscaping company,
That's
so I
all
mean,
in
I
there. That's why-
understand.
That's where it doesn't make sense for
Yeah.
us. I mean, we've
But
got
that's a
better-
one-time expense, right? So if we spent 80 grand on equipment or 100 grand on equipment one time, and we're spending 120 grand a year every year, that's a one-time expense for the equipment and a half the cost, for the labor. It's still gonna work out in our favor to keep it in-house.
I don't think you get, no. I don't think so. That's my opinion. Professional landscaping is better than a temporary part-time worker.
No, I'm saying like all year,
If you go
like,
a full-time
like not
employee,
temporary, like,
Yeah, if you're.
not
going-
Need them
seasonal.
all year.
Huh?
We don't need them all year.
Right, but even if you had them all year, you're still saving money by having 3 part-timers all year round to help you do everything versus 120,000 just to mow.
The thing is finding the people that will do it. Okay? And you can ask Greg, the issues that we have finding temporaries or seasonal people, even in the parks. We end up hiring high school kids, okay? Doing the things that Billy has out there is
Yeah.
not something we can assign to a 15 or 16-year-old
I'm not saying
kid.
temporary or seasonal. I'm
But
saying just
when you-
part-time in general, a part-time employee.
Then you would have the union fighting you.
Oh, okay.
You would definitely have, if we started putting in part-time people that were taking union jobs, it is easier for us to go out and bid this out with the blessing of the union than it is for us to bring in 3 part-time people, because then you would have a stink raised.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Mr. Amalia?
Thank you. This is not the only time that we bid out grass cutting. We also do it for our seniors, right? This council as a body made a decision to kind of get out of the snow and leaf pickup business just based on the timing of the grants, right? So now we're pretty much focusing exclusively on cutting grass for our seniors. I do not know if there is a way for us, they have to be separate contracts. One has to benefit low, moderate income individuals and people who can demonstrate need. The city does not fall into that category. But we may be able to save some money or find some efficiencies by figuring out a way to work with whomever is awarded, again, by the county to be our service provider to say, hey, you're already out here, could you pick up a few extra stops? I don't know if that's.
Yeah, but we have to bid it. We have to.
Yeah.
So we can't do that. We can't say, hey, you've been awarded this by the county. Hey, can you just pick up a couple extra stops? By law, we have to bid that out, and it goes to the lowest bidder, so.
It's my understanding that that's only if we hit the 50,000 mark though, right?
Yeah, which this is likely, obviously gonna hit that.
Well, I mean, I'm hopeful that if maybe we could say, hey, there's X number of stops that you're gonna be doing for our seniors. Is adding a few more really gonna be over 50 grand, you know? Something for us to at least consider and look into and see if we can double down.
Thank you, Mr. Amalia. What is too late to start bidding something like this? Because I know we're gonna,
Well, it's gotta be bid out for 30 days, so we're already into March once I
Yeah.
send it out.
will you start mowing in what, April, May, something like that?
Yep. And they're all lining up their contracts right
Right.
now. Right now is kind of I should have had it on last council, but with the snow and everything was happening, it just
Right.
slipped through the cracks.
So we've had a lot of discussion. What are we thinking?
I mean, at this point, it doesn't hurt to go out and bid, because we don't have to accept the bid if we don't like it. So I'm not opposed to letting Billy go out and get some bids and just see where the numbers come in at. That's my opinion.
Is it standard language in the top of the ordinance that says to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder?
That's usually yeah.
But you're saying you wouldn't actually enter into an
Oh, no.
agreement until you came back and spoke
Yeah,
with city.
this that we have written authorizes them to just
Yeah,
go
just go into the contract, yeah.
but I'm reading what it says in the, on the ordinance. It says an ordinance authorizes the mayor to create specifications, advertise for bids, and enter in a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's done deal. It's not just going out and coming back to us.
So can we,
Once we vote this, we will never see it again at council level until next year.
so would we have to, we would wanna change that then? To just advertise for bids? I mean, generally, we have to approve it, right? So they have to come back, you would have to come back to us and say
Sure we
that.
can. I don't think we need legislation for them to to go out to bid something. The legislation's really to allow the mayor to sign the contract. David, do we have to, by legislation, give them authorization just to get bids? Quotes to?
I'm not sure how they do it here. When I drafted it, I thought about how my former employer would do it. They would have to have an authorization to go to bid first. And they actually would come back, but
I don't know, like when Trish goes out to bid for new pistols or something, she just gets bids or quotes and brings them to us later, and then asks for authorization to go with the
We
bid.
just did that with, like, a meeting ago with the fence.
Yeah.
City
Right.
property.
Yeah, I would rather, I guess my opinion is I would rather just see the bids and see what the true cost is gonna be. And I know you set up to 120 because you think that's about, but what if it's only like 60? Or, if they come in a lot lower, I'd be a lot more comfortable just adding that onto the budget, you know what I mean? Because this is an additional expense. And like Steve said, we're talking about things down the road where we're gonna need money. So I'd be a lot more comfortable if we had the numbers in our hand, not just saying, hey, just go out and put 100, if it's 120, fine. Because if it's 120, it might not be fine. And Matt, I'd like also finance's buy-in on where that money's coming from every year. And it's just going to be general fund carryover, isn't it?
I'm gonna approach this just from a different angle. What if we mowed every other week?
We couldn't do that. The
No.
grass would be
Just to
too
lower,
high.
I'm just trying to think of ways
Grass
to.
would be too, yeah. You see how fast
to
it
come
grows?
with that.
Especially the center
I
town.
mean, we would just incorporate this into our annual budget. It just comes down to, I think, and just kind of echoing what Billy is saying and the mayor's saying, I mean, it's more than just money here. We're talking about, how we utilize our assets, with our workers. If you guys want more going towards paving and crack sealant and things like that, or do we want to pay these guys their hourly wage plus their pension, Medicare, healthcare costs per hour to go mow in a cemetery? I mean, is that a good utilization of our crew? That kind of, we can do a cost analysis of that, but it's also the fact of depreciation of assets, fuel, insurance that I gotta now pay on those new vehicles and mowers. My liability goes up. I remember when I got that call from Billy when they hit a gravestone. I was just like, who knew that a gravestone would cost $7,000? And I was just like, are you kidding me? And I gotta put that in insurance. So I think that there's more to it than just the money. So, I mean, I think going out, getting some bids is a good idea. And we could award it in Board of Control. If that was an option where council would authorize and go out to bids, and then in Board of Control, we awarded the bid. You could go from that angle as well.
I don't think you can award a bid over $20,000.
Depends how we write legislation.
You can't structure it though to get around it.
No. Mm-mm.
Either way, we gotta authorize it. Yeah, I'd like to see what it costs and then vote on it.
Mr. Knott,
I-
sorry, it's your.
Go ahead.
I wrote it that way based on prior legislation that I found.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the process council is comfortable with.
I had one other question in addition to mowing. Who's going to be responsible for the city center? I didn't see that included, but I didn't know if if your department handled that or if Greg's department
It's
handled.
Parks.
Okay. Just was curious. So do we need to pass anything? And if we do pass,
I've said my piece.
if we do
Whatever,
pass
what else?
something, can we take
Where's
out
the
the
council?
part where it says enter into a contract? Like if, so
I'm-
Mr. Knott, what I got out of what you said is that where you came from, they have.
Two-step process.
Okay,
Yeah, they would be authorized to advertise for bids, but this is the limit you can
Yeah.
award, and then they'd still have to come back and get approval from the council to sign the contract.
I mean, we could do it that way. I just don't think it's required anywhere that I've ever seen
yeah.
that we have to authorize them just to go out and get bids. I mean,
Well-
if the directors and the chiefs go out and get bids all the time on stuff and then bring it to us and say, we went out and got bids, here was the lowest or the best bid, here's what we want to do. Now we have legislation authorizing the mayor to enter into that contract.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if, you know, if the right thing to do is to pass what's in front of us, for you guys to go out to bids, I'm fine with that. I'm just not comfortable with the fact that it says enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder. If maybe, you know, without coming back to us. Like, I would like to take that out of there so we can discuss it, because then what if we decide not to do it? This piece of legislation says enter into a contract with the lowest bidder. So if I'm that bidder out there and no contract is ever awarded, this is what was passed, that they have to enter into a contract.
it's
with
not
the
that they
lowest-
have to, it just authorizes them to.
Yeah.
They're not,
Yeah.
it doesn't
I
say
don't know,
shall.
I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not committed to
Yeah.
signing anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just, that's how I read it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
If it switches that way, then that's fine, but I just have to pass it by emergency that night. Because we're still getting far into the season, the deadline for mowing, or for them setting up their contracts.
Mr. Knott's good, isn't it?
Mr. Knott?
The wrong way. If council's comfortable with passing it like the president suggested, I think that would be fine, as long as there's bids through that process and they come back to you with the contract.
Yeah.
I think
Say
that
take
would
the
work.
language out authorizing a contract, is that what you're?
No, I was just saying, just let them go get the bids and then bring us a new legislation with the bids.
Yeah, that'd be cleaner.
Yeah, I don't think we need to pass this just for them to get bids.
Yeah, like just go get bids and come back.
So
Yeah.
just strike this from the agenda?
Yeah.
No, strike it, just not take any action on it. Strike it from the meeting, but
That's what, yeah, I guess like.
put it on the next council if you have time to get bids. Next regular council and finance.
It's 30 days out. Once it's bid, it's gotta be bid for 30 days.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little bit past the next meeting. And when
So
was our
it'd
next
be
regular
March,
council?
basically, beginning of March.
So you just do it at the first meeting in March as emergency then?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get the dates on that, once it's set out. I plan on sending it out this week, so.
That works.
No action? No action?
No action.
Do we need a motion for that, right? Or is it-
It doesn't move out of committee.
Okay. We'll take no action on that. All right, item K, T7733, amend annual appropriations number 1, Matt Miller.
Yes, council, this will be our first budget adjustment for 2025. I already alluded to in the monthly financial report, the increase in real property tax revenue and that the county just provided to us. So we will be increasing revenues pretty substantially. And then we just have some, we obviously had a gap there with closing the year in December. So there's some pent-up budget adjustments that need to be made. And one of the significant ones would just be, of course, the City Hall contingency. We couldn't tie all that up in a PO, so at 12/31, that budget just fell off, so we're reestablishing the owner's contingency for City Hall, and this, just some various other miscellaneous changes, mud bonds, things of that nature, pension.
Mr. Miller, I had a question.
Yeah.
Actually, Mary Ann and I were talking about this over the weekend, but regarding the city center improvement for the 43 pedestrian crossing, that's listed in here. I know we had talked about it before, But are there other sides, so like when we put in a crosswalk, where does it go? Are there other sidewalks?
You know what, I'm glad you brought that up. We actually just had a capital meeting last week, so I'm gonna have to defer this one to Mr. Checkeye, because he is kind of running this project.
So the pedestrian crossing right now is proposed to go just to the north of the South Drive. So the drive that's in now, that has the fire access. There's a light there that we can get pedestrians across to the other side of 43. There is not a receiving sidewalk there right now. So I am in talks with the property owner to get a permanent right-of-way to be able to take right-of-way there to install sidewalks. We run into an interesting problem because the traffic boxes were put right where the existing sidewalk terminates, which is very frustrating. So, I'm hoping that he will grant us permanent right-of-way so we can jog it around that traffic box and the pole that was stuck in the middle of the sidewalk, and kind of fix that situation. I haven't heard from Chase yet, but I have heard from the building owner, which was where the Chamber of Commerce was formerly. So, all that to say, it's a work in progress. I have appraisers going out to be able to submit an offer to him, which will then come to City Council for approval when we go to try to take that right of way.
So essentially, we're planning our part because we know we can put a crosswalk in while construction is going on, but you're working on the receiving end of.
Correct.
So it might crosswalk into nothing, but for a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to do it as one single project. I'm also, on the back side of that, there's some ODOT money that's available for safety, pedestrian safety, and this may fit into that. But really, the first piece is getting that property owner to agree to let me put sidewalk there, let us put sidewalk there. Yes, we could take them to the other side of the street, but then they would really have no.
So you're just kind of like moving the money right now, but the project would kind of be like a done at the same time.
The money's just earmarked. We haven't, and it's probably, now that the scope has expanded a little bit, it's most likely gonna be more. I budgeted for, being able to get across the road, put some sidewalk in and be done with it, but we can't do it the way that I wanted to do it originally.
We should just have the traffic box. I'm just gonna make a quick little joke. Have Mr. Meidinger put one of those wraps on it that's like camouflage, and you'll just never know it's there. Or paint a sidewalk over it or something. I don't know.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to avoid this frustration.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. A couple questions. So I'm assuming because the traffic box is there, that's why we have to go onto that gentleman's property to put the sidewalk in?
Correct. It was placed smack dab right in the alignment of the.
Because typically we have that right away, we could just do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The back of the right of way is at the back of that box.
So my second question is more the function of the pedestrian crossing. Since that exit is left and right turn only, at what point is the pedestrian gonna get the light or the okay to walk? Because when that light's green, it's always gonna be people turning left. So it's not a straight, there's no straight, because typically when, in a regular intersection, you don't get the walk light until you have the green light to go straight. You don't get it on this side if the left turn arrow's on to go. So how is that gonna function? Because there's always a left turn arrow.
It's a great question, and it's something that hopefully we'll determine down the line. That's for the traffic experts. There's ways to do it.
I was gonna say,
it's done all the time.
I'm just wondering if both lights will be red for a time.
It may have
to allow people to cross.
Yeah, and it'll be actuted, so
If
if
they
nobody's
hit a
there,
button,
it's
they gotta
not
hit the button.
Yeah, it's not gonna jam on it 20 times. But we haven't gotten down that far yet.
I was just wondering the functionality because it didn't make a lot of sense.
Wait, you talking about left out?
When you're leaving the city center,
Yeah. Well,
you can
yeah.
only take a left or a right out of there.
Yeah.
So when the light's green, how is the person
Yeah.
waiting supposed to cross if people are turning left? They wouldn't give them
Well,
a
he said
walk
it's
sign.
towards the north. It's on the north side of it. So if you're turning left out of there, the crosswalk's over here.
Oh, is it on the
It's
right?
on the north side of the South Drive.
So it's,
So
on-
it's
oh, it's
between
on
our
the
two
right,
drives.
it's on the right turn side of it.
Correct.
Oh, okay, that makes
So you
more
just
sense.
have to
Okay.
worry about the right turn.
But then people just can't turn right when there's someone walking. That's even at a normal light. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Never mind. I missed, I thought it was on the other side. My apologies. I must be getting like Lampa north-south. I can't,
We lost him a while ago.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it. Anything else on, Mr. Miller, do you have anything else on this?
No, no other comments.
There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to move T7733 to tonight's full council.
The first and second to move T7733 to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is moved. Item 8, citizens' comments. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Ted Hurd, 769 David Drive, Streetsboro. Just want to make a quick comment on the mowing issue. Previous councils over the years have made a large mistake by not keeping after the things that we already have. And the sealing of the streets, the ditching, the containment of stormwater, and all those things are very important. And if you offset the $120,000 that we may or may not spend to get that done, using that money with the idea that we're protecting other assets that we have is one good thing about that. The second good thing about that is that I personally think I know it's tough to find people to work on part-time jobs. It's very, very hard. And to sit here in the audience and think that we have a $18 to $25 an hour a guy that could be doing something really beneficial in our service department, mowing grass, I think it's time to strongly consider hiring that out. And depending upon when the bids come in, there's ways of doing a cost analyst. Mr. Miller could do it, Mr. Meidinger could do it, because he has people mowing grass and knows what it actually costs to facilitate someone in a truck and with all the things that go along with doing that task. So I just think you should strongly consider at least the opportunity to investigate this. And even if you do it for a year and find out it's not really the best idea, you can always not do it the next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Anybody else? Seeing none, go ahead and move on. Item 9, announcements. A regular council meeting will immediately follow this. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. I know you're not going to use it, but I'll throw that back in the middle.
I missed that. 2 seconds to shut that paper.
One of our first items is Bill Miller, and he's out. I'll have to wait for him.
You good? All right, I'd like to call this regular city council meeting of Monday, January 27th, 2025 to order. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Ring?
Here?
Mr. Mishniak?
Here.
Mr. Hannon?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
Ms. Wagner? Here. Mrs. McDaniel? Present. Ms. Glenn?
Here.
All right, item 3, disposition of minutes. There are none. Item 4, citizens' comments. Seeing none. Item 5, reports, communications from departments, boards, and commissions. We'll skip Mr. Miller for now. Mr. Checkeye, Cobb Row, ROW. Cobb
Thank
Road,
you.
ROW.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ring. So I had sent council a pretty descriptive email regarding Cobb Road. Basically, it's a paper street. We're never gonna really want to improve it or force the residents to pay for an assessment to improve it. So we'd like to vacate it, give it to the adjacent property owners and place an access easement on top of it so that the people can access the eastern portion of what was formerly the rest of Cobb Road. So I'll entertain any questions. I'm not looking for approval today. City council will vote on the vacation of the easement, but before I send letters to the property owner with our position and process, I just want wanted to make sure there was no objections.
And if the property owners don't want it?
As of right now, they do. There's 3 property owners right now, and all are in agreement to this approach.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Oh, thank you, Mr. Chekai. All right, Mr. Bill Miller, you're listed as a service department mowing program. Did we just talk about that?
Yeah, we just talked about
Okay,
that. I don't know why
okay.
that's on there.
I don't think we need to beat that up anymore.
No.
Chief Reynolds, anything?
Not a whole lot. I'll make it quick. It's been a crazy week with the cold weather. A lot of fires in the area. We were just at an Aurora fire where there was actually an injury that we took to the hospital. We've been busy training, cold weather training, our pumps, our entanglement boxes, things like that. We also received, which I'll bring up at the Safety Committee, grant from the State of Ohio for $3,000 for EMS equipment. And we've been going into some buildings, larger buildings, that normally the company doesn't go in by themselves. We've been doing all company walkthroughs to some of the bigger industrial buildings, just to pay attention to what they're doing there. And that's about it.
Thank you. Chief Wayne?
Just briefly, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that sent condolences, thank yous, donations to the PD on behalf of Kaya. Those letters are still coming in, the cards, and they mean a lot to the officer. It's been a rough one for him to deal with, and the cards definitely do help. Finally, we had some comments on social media. People noticed we brought Kaya back from the vet last Friday, the 17th. There wasn't a lot of, it wasn't put out to the public. That wasn't anything to prevent public interaction. That was more of just giving the officer what he needed at the time. So we just did the procession and brought him back and had a little get together with his canine crew. And finally, we are open and live for our dispatch testing. So we are taking laterals and we are taking entry level. Don't hide. I know I can't poach you. That would be all kinds of conflicts, I'm sure. But if you know anybody that's interested, really the only qualification, aside from some inherent skill in dealing with people, is you just need to be able to type 35 words a minute net. So that's really doable. Everything else is on the job training. So we've gotten some decent traction. Hopefully we'll get some of the entry-level candidates. We are getting some laterals applying, but the job market's tough. So if you know of anybody, please refer them. Definitely looking forward to doing the interviews. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from Parks?
Yes, we're in the process of spring and summer planning. We've already met with junior baseball. It's the first time we've met this early with them, which is great that we're all on the same page. Planning the festivals and just getting everything kind of buttoned up and ready to go once spring hits. Anytime now. So yeah, I'm just staying busy.
Patrick?
Thank you. I'll be sending you guys a report from Kent State on some economic forecasting that we've engaged them with. It's a long-standing tradition that we've had, and I have no crystal ball, but our economic future is a little bit mixed, right? It depends on how tariffs impact. It could be really good for us if some manufacturer says, hey, I need to set up shop immediately and I need to find some place to be. Well, Streetsboro's got one of the largest manufacturing workforce within 30 miles and just about anywhere. That could be really good for us. Could also be really bad for us, depending on how the supply chains operate. Two of our largest employers and at least 5 or 6 of our smaller employers are all based out of Europe. There's going to be some impact there. I couldn't tell you how much, when, where, or how, but something's going to happen. Could be good, could be bad. Encourage you to read that report and take a look at it. And give me a call with any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Chaskowski?
Not really anything specific to report other than development is starting to heat up and we've got some applications
that will be on the first planning commission meeting and regular planning commission meeting in February. Mr. Checkeye, anything else?
Hopefully we've solved the issue with Arrowhead Trails and we can get that out to bid shortly. And hopefully you've been over to the City Hall site because there's steel going up. Very exciting. That's it.
Mr. Miller?
He's done. He's checked out.
I'm good on comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Go on to section 6, introduction of legislation containing statements of emergency.
Mr. Hannon,
What's that?
do you want to suspend the rules?
Oh, sure.
All of them?
Here.
This is the ring rule. I'm gonna call this the ring rule.
I'm not doing it, but.
No 7726 either.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for T7725, T7727, T7731, and T7733.
Second.
I have a first and second to suspend the rules. Please call roll, Bridget.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. All right. Item A, T7725, purchase New Holland TS6120 tractor with a mid-mounted boom arm mower. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Advantage AG and Equipment LLC for the purchase of a New Holland TS 6.20 lawn tractor at Sourcewell pricing for an amount not to exceed $170,477.05 after trade-in, and declaring an emergency to expedite the purchase.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
We have a first and second to adopt.
Wait, wait, wait.
Oh, sorry.
Lombardo was second, Mr.?
Yep.
And Mr. Hannon first?
Correct.
Yep.
In my zeal, I didn't write it down. Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes, T7725 now becomes ordinance 2025-12. All right. Item B, we're going to move to first read tonight, T7726. Item C, T7727, contract extension with Aeromark for pavement marking. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a one-year extension of a contract with the Aeromark Company without competitive bidding for the purchase of the city's requirements for pavement marking and striping at the current price of $166,658.99, and declaring an emergency in order to expedite pavement marking in the city.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
We have a first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7727 now becomes ordinance number 2025-13. And item D, T7731, contract with Quality IP for backup IT services. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Quality IP LLC to provide backup general information technology support and management services for the city of Streetsboro for an amount not to exceed $40,000, and declaring an emergency to implement the contract.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
A first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes, T7731 now becomes ordinance number 2025-14. All right. Item F, T7733, amend annual appropriations number 1 Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2024-164, the 2025 annual appropriations ordinance.
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Be first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes. T7733 now becomes ordinance 2025-15. Moving on to first reading. A T7728. Bridget, please read by title.
Did we want to do 2-6 first?
No, I just
Okay.
have it at the end, I'm sorry.
No problem. An ordinance dedicating in the honor of Rich Tacklet, the northwest perimeter road around the square by naming it Rich Tacklet Way.
Thank you. All right, item B, T7729, dedicate Northeast Perimeter Road, City Square, Chuck Casisco Way. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance dedicating in the honor of Chuck Casisco, the northeast perimeter road around the square by naming it Chuck Casisco Way.
Thank you. All right, item C, T7730, dedicate ball fields at City Park, the Chuck Casisco Ball Fields. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance dedicating in the honor of Chuck Casisco the ball fields at City Park, naming them the Chuck Casisco Ball Fields.
Thank you. All right, new item D, T7726, CRA Winking Lizard Incorporated. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a community reinvestment area agreement with Winking Lizard, Inc. and declaring an emergency in order to expedite the effective date of the agreement.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 8, item A, T7715, annual authorization of purchase of vehicle products and vendors, supplies vendor list. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with various vendors for the purchase of repair parts and supplies and services for the city's vehicle fleet during 2025.
Thank you. All right, item B, T7717, contract with Core and Main for hydrant replacement repair parts. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts without competitive bidding with various vendors for the purchase of the city's requirements for fire hydrant replacement and repair parts in an amount not to exceed $32,000 during 2025.
Thank you. All right, number 9, third reading. Street dedication still on there. Mr. Nutt, we're good to go?
The agreement's been signed.
Okay, good. Are we still within our 120 days of first read? Because we've moved this a few times.
11-4 was that was the first read was 11-4.
It's 120 days, right, from first read, so we're good. That's 4 months, so we're good, okay.
Read it again?
Yep, please read by T7684, street dedication, Meadowview phases 15 through 18. Bridget, please read by title.
An ordinance accepting the dedication of certain streets in Meadowview subdivision for public use.
Motion to adopt?
Second. Yep, go ahead.
Mr. Cannon?
Tony.
Who's second?
Tony.
Easy enough.
All right, I have a first and second to adopt. Bridget, please call roll.
Mr. Hannan?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes, T7684 now becomes ordinance 2025-16. All right, item 10, mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. As you guys all know, ODOT sets the schedule for resurfacing of the state routes, okay? There are 5 different projects that we have been working on. It is 5 total, right? 5 or 6. We'll get to it. There's 5 projects that we have been working on to make sure that we have the funding to complete in the spring of 2026. The first project is naturally the square. The square hasn't been done in 20 years. When it was originally proposed to us, they wanted to do it just by an overlay of asphalt. And we poo-pooed that right away because there would be no longevity. With the amount of traffic that goes through there, it might last a year or two. So we insisted that they go back to the concrete. We did get 20 years out of the concrete. That's the first project, okay? In and around the same time, they are going to, originally, they were only going to resurface 14 from the square to the turnpike, okay? They expanded that to go from Portage Point Drive all the way out to the turnpike. Then we are going to take at the Circle K at the point where 14 and 303. We're going to remove the slip lane. We're going to somewhat straighten the road out, but that road is going to come up and become a signalized intersection so that the people coming from Ranch Road and the people coming from 303 will now have another area. So there'll be some reconfiguration there. The last two parts of the project is from where the State Route 43 project terminates at Market Square Drive. From there down to the square in front of the new city center will be completely resurfaced also. Also from where the repairs on the square go all the way down to Twin Lakes will be resurfaced. So you're going to have 43 from Twin Lakes to Market Square completely done. You'll have 14 from the Turnpike to Portage Point completely done. The square will be completed, and the new intersection at 14 and 303 will be completed. All for the bargain price of about $2.178 million. ODOT, CMAQ, ODOT and AMAS are funding a large portion of it. And the reason I brought it up before, there is a way that ODOT gives you credit for work that your service department has performed on the state routes to make them last longer, okay? And Billy and his crews have been doing work along 14 and 43 by doing crack sealing and not just patching, but actual good patching into the road, down the sides and stuff like that. The original price was around 2.37, was that right, Matt?
Yeah,
It was,
Yeah, about 2.2,
don't quote me on the exact numbers, but it was below 2.4, right around 2.4. But they gave us a credit of around $235,000 for the work that we have performed. So it dropped the price down to around 2.1. We're not going to, we'll have to come back to you guys for enabling legislations. What we've been doing is negotiating this price for the last couple of weeks. Actually, it's been about the last month. And we got it to the point where we felt it was acceptable, and it was something that through a combination of funds from the 401, the 201, from a couple different funds, the road crews and things like that, that we could come up and get all these projects done. If we did not have to do them all, but they would have to be done very quickly. And you guys can see 14 is deteriorated. I wish we could have got it done this year, but we couldn't. 14 is to the point now where it needs to really be done. The square can't wait any longer. So we were able to work with ODOT, and I got to give them a lot of credit, man. They really had to listen. They listened to what we had to say, and we told them, you guys, this is rich for us, okay? But Matt and Justin and Billy, we were able to put our heads together and to come up with a way to fund these projects all at once. The enabling legislation won't be for what, about another 3 months?
Yeah, I think it'll come around October
Okay.
or maybe sooner for participatory legislation, and then they go for final.
And then they will bid the projects out in December, I believe. December or January.
January, I think, was the sale date.
Okay, the sale date, they call it a sale, they don't call it a bid. Sale date will be in January, and the project will start at the
the beginning of construction season, probably early April. And it'll be not quite a whole summer project, but there'll be quite a bit of disruption. And I'll tell you now, we have authorized them, in the bid packages, we've offered them nighttime work, okay? To try and do a lot of the stuff during the day would be absolutely atrocious, especially the 43 South. To try and do that during the day would be, and 14. So it will be night work, and we had to, we thought about it from the standpoint, 14, doing night work on 14 is really not bothersome to anybody, because there's really no houses along 14. That was a no-brainer. The only place that we had any question about was down by Meadowview, but the majority of homes on 43 sit back away from the road, okay? And when you had a look at the MOT, the maintenance of traffic, and the extra stuff that they would have to have, it's kind of a wash. And that's why we decided, let's go ahead and bid this as a nighttime project. I don't know if the square, if they're going to be able to do that at night, but we have it wide enough that I believe that we can still facilitate the flow of traffic through there. And it's gonna be a pain.
Yeah.
There ain't no two ways about it, but we still will be able to move. But, when you look at, if you can envision this, when you see this, 43, all the way from Frost Road to Twin Lakes will be brand new. 14, all the way from Diagonal, all the way out to the Turnpike will be brand new. We'll have a brand new intersection at 43, or at 303 and 14. The square will be smooth and not have to worry about driving your motorcycle through it. That whole center core of town will be completely rebuilt. And it was, Matt worked his buns off trying to figure out, well, how can we do this and how can we do this? And we looked at different projects, and I believe that we have a very workable plan, and it is something that's gonna, and it will be the last big thing that we have for quite some time to come. Remember, we talked before, we've got to take a breath. Well, this is our, I don't want to call this a gasp, but this is a deep one. But when we get done with it, there's really, besides routine maintenance on our surface streets and stuff like that, which we'll get back to, this is going to be the last big thing. I don't know, unless we get approved, we are putting in to AMATS in June.
Sometime this year.
Okay, sometime this year, we're putting in 2 projects, okay? But as you guys know with AMATS, things are 5 years from when they're awarded, okay? The first one we put in for, our priority, is to redo Frost Road the same way that we did 43 and 14. 3 lanes, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. The other one that we put in for was 303 from the old plaza to Page Road. 3 lanes, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. So I don't know if we'll get one or both. Chances are we won't get both. They may reconsider one at the next time, but we are putting in for those 2 projects as our next round, and that would be 4 or 5 years down the road. So there you have it.
Very good.
Like you said, an amazing year.
It has been.
And
I agree.
And it's only been because of the way that we have worked together, that we've been able to do the things that we did, or that we're doing. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, President of Council's comments. I have 3 new liquor license applications. We can go through them one by one. First one I have is from Zip City Laser Defense. It's a Trex for a new D5 coming from Columbus, looks like. Is that right, Mr. Malley?
I don't know where he purchased it from.
Looks like Original Josie's Pizza no longer wants to sell liquor, or is no longer in business, so must have got it from them. We really just have to, we like to vote if to take no action, if we want to take no action, or if we want a hearing. Any discussion on this?
I'll make a motion to take no action.
Second.
If first and second to take no action. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, no action will be taken. The next one is Ohio Springs Incorporated doing business as Sheets for C1 and C2, which is beer and wine. They already sell beer and wine.
I have had no communication with them. I could not tell you.
That's just odd to me. Okay. Maybe something happened
A
then.
different owner or something?
No, because that would be it would be an
Correct.
owner. This is a new liquor license, so maybe they were selling it illegally. I don't know. I'm not gonna, I don't know, allegedly, so I don't know anything. But again, we can choose to take action or no action.
Make a motion to take no action.
Second.
First and second to take no action. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will take no action. The third one is Kraken Entertainment, Timber Beast, for a new D5. I thought we had no D5s available. How is that?
I am aware that they have a D5 on file with the liquor control. I don't know if it's under Kraken or who, but I know that there is somebody on file with the state for that.
Well, yeah, Kraken, I just, the last time I looked at our quota, we had 9 out of 9 taken. And I
Correct.
just looked at it and we have 8 out of 9 available, so they're taking this one.
I
But-
don't know who left.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Where did that 9th one go? I can't think of anybody who served alcohol.
Well, unless Happy Moose finally sold
Oh, maybe.
theirs. Because originally John was trying to sell this as,
Well, if he sold his liquor license, that would have been a transfer. Did he just give it up? Maybe, or
the state doesn't have to notify us when somebody's Trexing it out.
yeah, but
We don't
it
always
wouldn't
know.
be. It wouldn't be a Trex. It would just be a transfer because it's within the same city, right?
You would think.
But
yeah.
even still, I think there is a
But John wouldn't have sold it to them.
no. But I think there's a law if you don't. I recall this going through it with another business. If you don't sell an alcoholic beverage with the liquor license for a year, you lose your license. So maybe
Yeah,
that
well-
could be what it is. I don't know. I'm just
There-
speculating again, but
What was it wasn't Pops, but you guys used to have a business here that would open up literally one day a year to do that.
Yeah.
Just to keep
Starlight used to do it.
yeah. So that may be how it became available. I was just befuddled because I'm like, I don't remember anybody recently,
And this is all I get when they come.
Yeah, no, I get it. I looked some stuff up on, you can go onto the liquor control site and look stuff up, but, all right, so we can vote take action, no action?
I'll make a motion to take no action.
Second.
First and second to take no action, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, no action will be taken. Aside from that, I have no other comments, so we will go to council members' comments. We will start with Ms. Glenn.
No comments tonight.
Ms. Wagner? Okay. Mr. Mishniak?
Yeah, Tony asked for my time. I'm gonna give it to him.
Very
Tony, you
good.
can have my time.
I second what you just said, so
Oh,
Tony's got a bunch of time.
Nothing from me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Lombardo, you have 9 minutes.
I was just gonna say, awesome job to Bill Miller and his crew over the snowstorms. The roads were amazing, and all I heard from people was Streetsboro was great. So Facebook and everybody I know, they're like, "Oh, Streetsboro's great." So, awesome job, Mr. Miller.
I'll let you guys know.
How's their salt looking? Their
How's
salt
salt?
supply?
We got probably 1,800 tons right now. We're slowly getting it in. It was on a 3 weeks behind, so the orders are starting to come in.
All right.
Because of everybody needs it right now,
Yeah.
so they're just giving a little bit to everybody.
All right. Well, thank you for the hard work. That's all I have.
Very good. All right, item 13, announcements. There will be a safety committee meeting, service committee meeting, and regular council meeting Monday, February 10th, 2025 at 7 PM in council chambers.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Thank you, good people.
Gonna take your pen.
I was trying to bait you.
Oh, I've got two. I don't need sure.
Or too much?
Can get one for you.
I didn't get pizza.
I don't either. Mine are all digital.
Oh, you know what? Mine are on.
Digital.
Yeah.
They're on.
So the W-2 maybe.
No, because I got my W-2.
I got W-2s at home.
Yeah, that's